Welcome to Waywut, your weekly verbal double take. This is a rabbit hole podcast where a couple of old guys do moderate to shallow dives into various topics, ranging from true crime, paranormal, sports, pop culture, or anything else that we find interesting. We drop episodes every Tuesday and on Fridays if we feel like it. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and TikTok. We appreciate you joining us. And now that we got all this self-promotion stuff out of the way, here we go. Hello, welcome to another episode of Waywut. My name is Darrell. I'll be in charge of today's episode. And here I am with the guy who keeps coming back from the Bermuda Triangle, no matter how many times we keep sending him there. Jason.
I know the secret.
The secret?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, are you going to share it?
No, it's a secret.
Well, fine. Be that way, bitch. Where it disappoints me that you will not share this secret, I'm going to expand on this with a disappointed guy rant.
Okay.
So do you remember in the 90s when all the mystery shows were on?
Yes.
Yeah. We had Unsolved Mysteries, Sightings, Fact or Fiction, and then a bunch of others that I can't remember the name of.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was all about aliens, Bigfoot, and ghosts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they loved it back then. But now, everyone has a camera and some sort of video recorder just in their pocket all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what we get because of that? YouTube videos with the fakest ghost, fakest aliens, and the fakest Bigfoot videos. Way faker than what we used to get.
Yep. A lot easier to do it, too.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I would love to see a legitimate picture or video of any of those things. But you can't trust anything because it is so easy to fake or doctor any kind of photo or video nowadays. I mean, you have like kids can basically shoot a movie now with like better effects than what, would have been able to be done even 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, they can make full movie trailers that you think are going to come out.
Oh, God, it's even worse with AI now.
Mm-hmm. I saw one for Back to the Future 4. I'm like, this ain't real.
No, it is
sure
not.
Didn't make it look real.
No, it is. It is definitely isn't. Robert Zemeckis has made sure to do whatever he can to make sure nothing like that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a guilty pleasure of mine and my wife's to watch these paranormal videos on YouTube. We do this knowing that 98% of the time we're just going to sit there and poke holes in the video and laugh at how they faked it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we love making fun of the fake ones. A lot of times, like, you can do that with string. There's somebody, behind the door that actually did that, whatever the case may be. But that's 98% of the time. 2% of the time, we actually come across some that make us say, if that one is fake, they did a really good job.
You mean, wait, what?
Not that far, because we're still pretty skeptical. I want it to be real. I want all those things to be real. Bigfoot, ghosts, and aliens, I want them to be real. But as technology moves forward, there's nothing very credible being presented in a time where, we can get recorded evidence of just about anything. Furthermore, as I've said before in their Ghost the Neighborhood episode, I've gone to so many haunted places. Winchester House, Goatman Bridge, Emily Morgan Hotel, Whaley House, Queen Mary, all those. And I left each place with no cool ghost story at all.
You wanted it too bad.
Stop saying that.
They sense it.
No. Now, as I told you in that episode also, is I did have my ghost experience that I talked about, that happened.
Mm-hmm.
What I've not told everyone about is my UAP UFO story.
Oh, you said it right.
All right, I'm going to start with spoilers. I was not abducted, and aliens did not put anything in my butt.
Oh,
So,
was something already there, or?
ha ha ha, no. But back whenever I was younger, and I used to go hunting a lot, I was at a deer lease just south of the Oklahoma border. We were about 15 minutes away from Oklahoma. Back, back then, it was always me and my dad. And, sometimes on some of the weekends we'd go there and there'd be a lot of people there. Sometimes we'd go and just be a couple. This is one of those weekends where it's just a couple of guys that we didn't really even know very well that were there. And while we were, in the campers, like maybe 10 o'clock at night, getting ready to go to sleep, those two guys that we didn't know too well come knocking on the door. And we're like, okay, what the hell is this about? And they're like, you guys should come out here and see this. And I'm like, okay. So, we throw on some boots and clothes or whatever, and we go outside. And they point up in the sky at a star. However, this did not just sit there and twinkle like a normal star. For like the next 30 or 45 minutes, we watched this star like move down, and then it would move to the left, and then it would move down, and then it might move back up. It just kind of was randomly just kind of going everywhere across. And it wasn't like zipping across the sky like, like a bug or anything. It just kind of gradually would work its way down. And I would sit there and look at like other stars and like trees and stuff as like a point of reference to, it was my eyes playing tricks on me. And you would see it just kind of ease its way down, and then it might ease its way over. And it was just really weird.
And with you being out where you were, you probably could see the stars and everything
yeah.
really well.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime we were out there, I mean, you could see tons and tons and tons and tons of stars. And those stars didn't move all over the place.
They were stationary.
Was it an alien spaceship? I have no idea. It looked like a star, but it didn't act like a star. So the 2% of videos I mentioned earlier that we watch on YouTube that we find somewhat believable are typically UAP videos. And they're the only ones that you really see on the internet where you'll see like people get it from different angles or from different parts of the town or different towns, but they're all like shooting the same thing on the same night. So definitely a hell of a lot more credible. I don't know. I don't know if what we saw were aliens or secret government jet or swamp gas, but it seemed pretty believable to me.
Yeah. Definitely can't understand what you saw.
No, it's definitely, an unexplained aerial phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I ended that one on a better mood than I thought I would.
Yeah.
I usually don't do that.
Yeah. It was pretty good. It wasn't that bad of a rant.
No. So earlier when I was talking about those mystery shows, I remember lots of them being about the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
And then whenever I got older, I learned that the number of ships and planes that disappear in the Bermuda Triangle is no more than any other place in the world. It's not special. But what about the other triangles? Were you aware that there are other scary triangles?
Like isosceles?
No, I mean like triangular areas of land.
No, I did not.
Today's episode, we're going to talk about various other scary triangles.
Okay.
In an episode that I like to call Geometry of Terror.
All right.
I like that title. All right. Well, we're going to start with New England, Massachusetts specifically. In 1983, a cryptozoologist, you do know what one of those is, right?
I'm guessing they study dead animals.
No, they discover they study cryptids. Cryptids are animals that are believed to be exist by some people, but you have no scientific data to back it up. Bigfoot,
Unicorn?
No, unicorns are like fantasy creatures. I mean, like Bigfoot or the like Boggy Creek monster,
Loch
Loch
Ness Monster?
Ness, uh, Wendigos or whatever. I
Okay.
don't know. It's weird stuff like that. Well, this cryptozoologist name was Lauren Coleman, or his name was Lauren Coleman. Always have a hard time. No offense to you Laurens out there, but I hear that name and I don't think I'm an old fashioned fella. Even though I grew up knowing a Lauren, so go figure. Anyways, he wrote a book called Mysterious America because 80s and 90s we were all about mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's in that book that the Bridgewater Triangle was originally named. The Bridgewater Triangle is the 200 square mile area between Rehoboth, I don't know, Yankeetown, Rehoboth, Abington, and Freetown. And all three of those towns are in Massachusetts, and they make a nice little triangle. Now, if the term cryptozoologist that I explained to you earlier doesn't clue you in, this area is known for a collection of paranormal and creepy stories and random creepy events. There are reports of crimes. Okay, that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
Ghosts, UAPs, Bigfoot, Thunderbirds, curses, cults, and tiny people called the Pukwudgie.
Okay. What are Thunderbirds?
Oh, you never heard of a Thunderbird?
Mm-mm.
All right, that's another cryptid. That one, an old like Native American folklore stuff like that. It's essentially a giant, scary bird,
Yeah.
and not like California condor, albatross giant. More like Mothra,
Okay.
but big ass bird. There's some people that think that the Mothman is technically probably a Thunderbird. So, all right. Well, one of the areas within the Bridgewater Triangle is Freetown State Forest, and it is more on the crime side of things because it's had its fair share of crime scenes. In 1978, a 15-year-old cheerleader named Mary Lou Aruda was found tied to a tree there. Her dead body was.
Mm.
The man that was arrested and tried for her murder kept getting his convictions overturned, and eventually the prosecutors gave up on convicting him. So essentially, an unsolved mystery about a cheerleader tied to a tree. How very slashery. In 1980, during the Satanic Panic, people used to claim to witness satanic cult activity there. So people are freaked out about that.
Mm-hmm.
In 2001, the bodies of two men were found there. They had been shot to death. I'm not really going into detail on any of these because honestly, this is like the low key part of all this. And essentially, I also do it just to lead to this part here. To add a culty twist to it all, in 1998, two incidents of mutilated animals were found in the woods, one of them being a cow and the other being a group of calves. It was speculated to be part of a ritual sacrifice.
Dang.
With it being in Massachusetts, though, I'd like to be like, "Hail Satan, we'd like to give you here. It's a sacrifice. Bring the fucking cow.
You a knock?
Leave the dag. I want keep the dag. I want to kill the fucking cow." Anyway, we don't have any listeners in Massachusetts, at least not consistent ones. So. You hear me say dog and you got to come running. All right. For those of you who's listening, my dogs just made a guest appearance on the video, or at least one of them did. All right. Well, Freetown also has a natural granite formation that is called, get this, granite rock.
Oh.
Oh, I know.
Did they have to take a vote and get a special committee together to come up with that one?
I don't know. Well, it has a what looks like a human face. Ooh. It is alleged that a Metacomet, a Wampanoag chief, gave Anawan the subsequent Wampanoag chief after him,
Mm-hmm.
their lost wampum belt. Now, wampum belts were very important to the various tribes because for most of them it contained their history and their stories. They would be able to, whenever they tell the stories, they'd hold the belt in the air, and each like little symbol area was supposed to mean like something within their history.
Okay.
Now, people have claimed that they've seen the ghost of a man, probably one of the chiefs, that were both killed by British soldiers, can be seen sitting on the rock. It's really, really pointy, so I hope that isn't true. That would be very uncomfortable.
Just up there
Now,
spinning around.
I'm sorry. I mean, this one is so funny. Like, this is one of the more popular triangles, and most of the time whenever I'm reading it, I'm just kind of like shaking my head because I'm a little too skeptical. Speaking of skeptical, the Pukwudgie, the people I mentioned before, are tiny humanoid beings that live in the woods, according to the Wampanoag. There are reports from various hikers and dog walkers stating that they have seen the tiny beings. One that I read from 2023, one account,
Mm-hmm.
the woman states that she saw a tiny being covered in black hair and glowing green eyes, which, it might be a black cat.
Yes.
Most reports show them to be tricksters that try to lure people into the woods. Some stories say they do that for unknown bad reasons. It's like, oh, they want you in the woods. We don't know why, but it's bad. It's also said that they might follow you home. Either way, the recommended course of action if someone encounters one is to ignore it. Ignore the tiny Pukwudgie.
I don't know if I'll be able to ignore it.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah. So if you're listening and you're ever in that area and you see a tiny little Pukwudgie, I'm gonna say that advice that they gave is wrong. And if you encounter one, at least try to get a selfie with it
Mm-hmm.
because I want to see it.
Yeah.
And I would be like, "Show me your Pukwudgie. Show me your black hairy Pukwudgie." I couldn't help myself. Also within the triangle in West Bridgewater, there is a stone called the Solitude Stone.
Oh.
It
Is it
is
called the Stone?
no, the Solitude Stone. It is a stone at the base of a wood bridge that has an inscription carved into it by a reverend named Timothy Otis Payne, and he carved it in 1852. And it reads, let's see, I gotta go in my like snooty voice. All ye who in future days walk by Nuckatessic stream, love not him who hummed this his lay, cheerful to the parting beam, but the beauty that he wooed is in his quiet solitude. Now, I don't know what any of that shit means.
It did rhyme.
Yeah. But I am a culturalist swine, so that is to be expected. I mean, it did sound purty though, in purty words. Now, there's the history about the stone, and it's boring. The legend around the stone is either that try not to piss off YouTube here, a sewer slide victim. See, you got where I'm going with this? All right. Was found near it, or people began eliminating themselves around it. One or the other. Something along those lines happened where people just in themselves, or are just all around it, or somebody was like right by it and was like, themselves. Now, it's not clear But because of all this, it was nicknamed the sewer slide, but not sewer slide, stone. The other word.
When you
We had
used to
that
do
one.
when you mix all your drinks together.
We had that one get age restricted just for saying that word. So
When you used to go to CC's Pizza and you get all the same drink and mix it all together.
yeah, that drink.
Okay.
So allegedly, this stone is haunted. Now, I would like to mention, since we talked about so many sewer slide things, this is not an endorsement for doing that to yourself. If you want to hurt yourself, talk to a doctor, family member, friend, stranger, or one of those hotlines. It ain't worth it. Don't do it.
Agreed.
And definitely don't do it because of a rock. That's a dumb reason. But apparently it's a haunted rock because people do stupid things by it. The other big deal in the Bridgewater Triangle is the area known as the Hockomock Swamp. I really don't want to do anything that takes place in New England anymore.
No,
I
those
hate
are some weird
pronouncing all
ass
these words.
words.
Hockomock is the Algonquin word for place where spirits dwell. Can you see where we're going with this?
Mm-hmm.
It is said to be an Indian burial ground. So naturally, it means it's haunted.
Of course.
Yeah.
They all are.
Here, people say they see floating orbs of light, hear drums, and hear disembodied voices. Like whoop, 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 or whatever. Whatever they hear. Now, there are various reports of UAP, Thunderbird, and Bigfoot sightings. However, I couldn't find any interesting specific stories. At least not any that were in like a documented article. I found plenty of stuff on like Reddit and forums and stuff like that, but it's like that's just I could type bullshit up like that, and I'm not even up there. So I have a hard time. Like I don't want to talk about it like I think it's real. That being said, there was one alleged local, that just passingly said that she saw a Bigfoot just lounging by a stream. Now, if I ever see a Bigfoot just chilling out, I'm taking a picture. So I call bullshit on this woman. That's why I have a hard time with these.
Okay, I have a quick question about Bigfoot.
Okay.
Is he a singular person, like a singular being, or there's several species of Bigfoot? Is that a species where you see them in a bunch of places?
I don't know. I mean, it's the whole Sasquatch thing. I mean, one, it's debated on what it is, anyways. If it's an ape, is it a man? Is there some mix in between?
Uh-huh.
There's some people that think that all the Sasquatch legends were just wild people that lived out in the woods. So I don't know.
Oh, all right.
I can't give you the the
Just
details on an unproven possibly
right.
imaginary
I'm just wondering
critter.
how some people could see it in Oklahoma, and then people also could
Oh,
see it in Maine or
I mean,
Massachusetts or wherever.
I mean, it's never been nailed down in one place. Now, what makes it even funnier though is you have all these places that have creatures that are described to be like Bigfoot, but they all call them something different. Because you got the Boggy Creek monster in Louisiana,
Uh-huh.
you got the skunk ape, and I can't remember where the hell that's at. Uh, else is there? There's I think the Beast of Bray Road is supposed to be like one of those. I mean, it's just it's I don't know. Either they're all the same thing, or we got like different varieties of Bigfoot that we still somehow have not managed to get adequate video or a corpse of.
Now, if there were multiple of them, would we have to call them big feet?
No,
Look at all
you
those
would
big
call,
feet over there.
no, you would call them
They're in a herd.
Bigfoots. You would call them Bigfoots.
All right, that's my contribution.
All right, well let's leave this weirdo triangle and go on to the next one, because I'll be honest, that triangle is my least favorite, even though it had all the cool things on it. It's just none of the stories really came off all that great to me. I was just kind of like, whatever. I'd rather there's Mount Shasta. is way better. If I want to go someplace and that I got to worry about seeing weird kooky stuff, I'm going to Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna go as much as I love parts of Boston. And I'm sure I'll love Salem. I'll be going there next year. I have no desire to go tramping along in Hockomock Swamp.
No. Mount
Looking
Shasta
for
has very tall blonde women.
Yeah, exactly. Named like Bonnie.
Yeah.
I am from a higher species. You may call me Bonnie. All right. Well, we're going to go a bit north, so I'm not getting down New England yet. We're going to hit Vermont. This is where the Bennington Triangle can be found. Now, it does not have 3 clear points like the Bridgewater Triangle, at least not that I could figure out. But it is used to describe an area that's in the Glastonbury Mountains. An author named Joseph Citro came up with the name when describing the area of southwestern Vermont that had 5 disappearances between 1945 and 1950. So now we got something, a little bit dicey because, you got a small area, 5 missing people.
5 years, yeah.
I'm listening. 3 of them were people that got lost in the woods, and one of them, they eventually even found a body. So it's hard to call that one like a, disappearance because something reappeared.
Yeah, people get lost in the woods a lot.
Yeah. But one of the ones that was not just somebody that got lost, it was an 8-year-old special needs boy that was left in a truck. And when his mom came back, he was gone. They got out the search dogs. Dogs tracked him to a stream. Trail ended there. Just gone.
Dang.
Yeah. There's a really weird one. What?
Why was he left alone in the car?
Because it was freaking between 1945 and 1950.
No,
I mean, hell, my mom used to leave me in the car every now and then. That was in the 80s.
Okay.
Now, my mom left it running, unlike the psychopaths, that like to cook their kids. But there's a really weird disappearance. Was a man named James Tedford who was riding on a bus from St. Albans to Bennington. Witnesses said they saw him on the bus before they arrived at the last stop in Bennington. However, once they got there, he was gone. His stuff was there, and he still had a bus schedule that was just sitting in his empty seat, but he was nowhere to be found. Now, it sounds weird and creepy, but Mr. Skeptic Darrell's got to poke some holes in this. This sounds like just really bad witness testimony. I mean, witnesses are hardly the best evidence at all, and are pretty much, it's consistently unreliable.
Uh-huh. They're easily to discredit. They're easy to discredit.
Well, and rightfully so. I mean, you can get 10 people to see the same thing, and they're going to talk about it 10 different ways and describe the person that did it 10 different ways. So the other thing on this is not just, because people are bad, at being witnesses. Who wants to admit that they didn't notice the bus they were on leaving without someone on it? And it's like, oh yeah, there's that guy that there was a guy sitting there earlier. Huh, we're leaving. Maybe I should tell the bus driver. Nah. Nobody wants to admit to that. Either that or the guy that he was sitting close to offed him in a bathroom or something. I don't know. Either way, nothing was ever found. The rest of the weirdness of the Bennington Triangle is Bigfoot, ghosts, Indian curses, and aliens. Unfortunately, though, I really wasn't able to get a lot of good specific stories out of that either. That would be any kind of fun to talk about. So, because at least if I have a specific story saying, okay, this person says they saw this, here's their picture or whatever.
Yeah.
But there wasn't anything like that. It's just, people say they see Bigfoot there. People say that an Indian curse causes them to bleed out of their butthole every 3 days. I don't know.
That's a terrible curse.
Yeah, well, it could be, could be worse.
Could it?
Bleed out your dick.
Ooh.
All right, let's get the fuck out of New England and go west. We're going to go check out the Lake Michigan Triangle.
All right.
All right. Now, this triangle is from Ludington, Michigan to Manitowoc, Wisconsin, up to Benton Harbor, Michigan. In 1977, a book by Jay Gorley was titled The Great Lakes Triangle, talking about some of the mysteries we're about to go over. There isn't a book or anything credited with people, I'm the one that called it the Lake Michigan Triangle, but that's what everybody ended up calling it because they turned their focus mainly on the Michigan part. They're like, okay, your Great Lakes Triangle is too big. Let's just, everything seems to be happening here. So now some claim that the Lake Michigan Triangle isn't even a triangle, but actually a rectangle. I would love to watch this debate. I really would. Some say it's got no real, like straight line shape at all. It's just all of Lake Michigan that's, mysterious and creepy and whatever.
Uh-huh.
Of course, some say it's all nonsense. I say it's a triangle because it goes better with this episode's theme.
I agree.
So, it's a triangle, Lake Michigan Triangle. Now, with it being a lake, lots of the stories are lost ships. The water is very, very deep there, so it's understandable. And Great Lakes are huge.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they're gigantic. So this one's big, it's deep, boats get lost. I get it. Now, the thing is you get a weird one. You get really, really mysterious ones sometimes, like the O.M. McFarland in 1937. The captain of the O.M. McFarland was George R. Donner. He led the crew as they navigated the icy flows in the northern portion of the lake. Once they got into safer waters, the captain, he was exhausted. He went to his cabin to go get some rest. Now, as the O.M. McFarland approached Port Washington, the crew went to the captain's cabin to go wake him up. They knock. No one answers. They're like, huh. So they try to open the door. They can't open it because it's locked on the inside. So finally, they break down the door and they find the cabin empty. There were 2 portholes in his cabin, but unless he was the size of a skinny toddler, he wasn't fitting through those.
You said porthole.
Yeah, I said. I did say porthole. They searched his ship. They never found him. This just has never been explained. Based off the testimony of the crew, this is mysterious. Now, that being said, if I am somebody that's just looking at the facts here, you got a boat on the water, a captain's cabin with the door kicked in, no captain around. I'm going to think somebody in the crew kicked the door down, beat his ass, and threw him overboard or something along those lines.
Told everybody, shut the fuck up.
But according to the crew, that's not what happened. Now, it's not just boats that are at risk in the Lake Michigan Triangle. On June 23rd, 1950, Northwest Airlines Flight 2501 was flying 58 passengers from New York to Seattle. While over Lake Michigan, the pilot, Captain Robert Lind, okay. I wonder if I left a T off. Oh, well, I'll call him Captain Lind. Captain Lind requested permission to descend to 2,500 feet. They had flown into a bad electrical storm and they were fighting high winds.
You say 2,500?
Yeah, he wanted to dip down to 2,500 feet.
Oh, that's really low.
Yeah, and the tower agreed, and they said no, which I'd be like, bitch, you ain't even on this plane. Don't tell me what the fuck to do.
Yeah, I'm doing what I think is right.
Yeah, well, whatever decision was made, whether he said, fuck you, I'll do it anyways, or he did what the tower said, it doesn't matter because the plane disappeared from radar and stopped responding to communications. Once, they got out, they hauled ass to get out there. They searched Lake Michigan for wreckage. None was ever found. However, in the following days, human remains began washing up on the shore, but nothing from the plane. No part of this plane has been located despite an annual search funded by an author named Clive Clessett.
Wow.
So this thing's been out there for 74 years with people actively looking for it. Now, I would get it if, it's like, hey, yeah, they've been looking in the ocean for even say they've only been looking for 20 some odd years. You tell me you're looking in the ocean, I'm going to be like, yeah, of course you're not going to find it. The ocean's gigantic. Lake Michigan's big, but you got a flight path. And on top of that, your area is a lot more limited. And sonar is really good nowadays. They have not found a damn piece of this plane. So this one I do find very weird. You get corpses, no plane parts.
Were they able to identify the corpses from the plane? Did they?
I mean, it was just the article I said, it said they were bodies from the plane. So
Okay.
I assume so.
Very weird.
Yeah. So what happened to Captain Donner in Flight 2501? Is it a portal? Aliens? A giant lake monster? Toyotathon? In 2007, an archaeologist professor named Mark Hawley ran a sonar search around the Lake Michigan Triangle, just looking for random shipwrecks. Because, like I said, lots of ships have disappeared and sunk over there, in that lake throughout the years. What they found, instead of a shipwreck, under 40 feet of water, were 3,000-pound granite stones arranged in a pattern similar to Stonehenge. The formation is estimated to be 10,000 years old, which is around 5,000 years older than Stonehenge. The stones are significantly smaller than Stonehenge, and they aren't stacked on top of each other, but they're arranged in similar circles. Also, interestingly enough, one of the stones appears to have a carving of a mastodon on it. Yeah. This obviously means that Ice Age cavemen are responsible for taking the boats and planes. What do they want with them? Do they want to go on a cruise? Are they trying to go on vacation? No. I think they plan on building their own tourism company. They're taking all these planes and boats and they're going to create caveman travel. And if it pops up with all these old ships and planes, don't travel with them. They did not build their business ethically. You don't just steal planes and boats. Anyway, so yeah, that's just kind of weird. No real explanation for that. People keep trying to look at it. There's debate on whether or not is it really 10,000 years old or whatever. But you know how dating rocks goes. I mean, you do, right? I mean,
of course. I mean, got to have something to do in your spare time.
Yeah. Well, the final terrifying triangle of this episode is the Nevada Triangle.
Ooh.
This perilous polygon goes from Reno, Nevada to Las Vegas, Nevada to Fresno, California. That is a 25,000 square mile area, the largest of today's sinister shapes. Now, before you ask, and I know you'll ask, Area 51 is not within this triangle. It's east of the triangle. And everyone likes to point out it's right there next to the triangle. It's just east of it. And I get it. If someone lives next door to a serial killer and they turn up dead, you're going to look at the serial killer and be like, obviously, So, it's like, oh, this triangle where things go bad and it's right next to Area 51. It's obviously their fault. But I don't really consider the analogy a bad analogy, with it being, Area 51 being a serial killer, because it is said that around 2,000 planes have gone missing in that area over the last 50 years.
2,000?
2,000.
I'm guessing smaller planes that aren't commercial flights.
You are correct. There are lots and lots of small planes traveling from California to Nevada. And on top of that, there's a military base nearby. So lots of planes with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are many that take issue with that number, the 2,000 disappeared flights, and rightfully so, since there have been plenty of crash planes discovered there. They're not saying that 2,000 planes haven't crashed there. They're just saying, hey, 2,000 planes didn't disappear there. Experts say that the High Sierra, Mountains that are right there are very dangerous to planes. But FAA officials, pilots, and aviation enthusiasts don't believe that 2,000 missing planes is a very accurate number. And honestly, they don't even believe that there's 2,000 crashes in that area. But that's just, what they want you to think. The reason some suspect the triangle's existence is because there are some well-known plane crashes and disappearances in the area. There are a number, like a lot, of military planes that have gone down in the Nevada Triangle. But I'm going to skip talking about all those because I have no desire at all to be bummed out. I don't really want to talk about military people and plane crashes. Now, famous rich people? That's fair game. I'll talk about them crashing and disappearing. Charles Clifford Ogle was a businessman living in Oakland, California. Can't do that nowadays. You get robbed. It's true. Northern California, all of California is not. You don't leave anything in your car that you want to keep. So let's see. And any California people that get offended by that, you shouldn't get offended by that. I go there a lot. I know. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I seen it.
They see it too.
All right. On August 12th, 1964, he took off from Oakland International Airport flying to Las Vegas. He did not file a flight plan or radio the tower on takeoff because he's rich. He don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
He was also never heard from again.
Because he's rich.
Since then, despite searches, his aircraft nor his remains have ever been found. Does that mean he crashed in the Nevada Triangle? No, but there's nothing showing he had any reason to disappear. So in all likelihood, his plane did go down in the Nevada Triangle because of the High Sierras. It's tough mountains to fly over. But they don't. He never popped up in another country. He told people he was going to fly to Vegas. They believe him. I mean, for all I know, he flew to Seattle and disappeared there. But who knows? Everything indicates, though, he didn't have a reason to disappear. Then there was Steve Fossett. He was a businessman and adventurer. Yeah, not like an Indiana Jones adventurer, though. More like, he likes... More like Bear Grylls, I guess. Not that he was a survivalist, but he loved attention because he enjoyed setting records for planes, boats, and stuff like that. He wanted to be the one that was going the fastest, going the furthest, doing the biggest thing. He loved setting records. Things like flying around the world, or he also set some records in hot air balloons. Just modern day adventures for really, really rich people. It's like, yeah, oh, cool. Yeah, I can do that because I can afford the technology that'll make breaking that record easy. Yeah, let's do it. And he was really rich. I mean, like really, really rich. All because of like securities and stocks and other stuff that a poor boy like me would never understand. I really don't. This stuff confuses me.
Hell yeah, it does.
The man had numerous accomplishments, and I don't mean to minimize any of them, but we try to keep this show to less than an hour, and going through like all the records he set and stuff like that would probably be its own episode. This dude did a lot. On September 3rd, 2007, he took off from a private airstrip near Smith Valley, Nevada, and never returned. Just over a year later, on September 29th, 2008, a hiker found Steve Fossett's ID cards. A few days after that, an air search team spotted the wreckage of his plane at 10,100 feet on a mountain ridge. By November 3rd, they were able to match the DNA on some of the bones at the crash site to Stephen Fossett. The bad news was that he died. The good news was he didn't disappear.
Yeah, they've actually found something there.
Yeah. So, why do military planes and rich people crash here? Well, it depends on who you ask. There's the unique folk that point out its proximity to Area 51 that we already kind of went over. It's like, oh, they're shooting it down with alien tech. Some think it's portals. Being that in the initial search for Stephen Fossett, it's reported that they uncovered somewhere between 2 and 8 older crashed planes. I don't think it's a portal. I don't think they're just vanishing. They're obviously crashing, and they're just never finding them because it's hard to find them all. By the way, many were hoping and speculating that some of those old planes were Charles Clifford Ogle's plane, but alas, they were not. He still disappeared.
Yeah. He flew to Florida to retire.
Yeah. Some people buy more into the mundane explanations. Things like pilot error. These are very tall mountains that are subject to extreme updrafts and pop-up storms. Things that really mess up a small aircraft. And if you don't make the right decision, you're going to crash. You're flying something that doesn't weigh a whole lot with the winds that go crazy. Other people believe that that's something more scientific, and it's specific to the High Sierras because of them being perpendicular to the jet streams and winds coming from the Pacific Ocean. They believe that because of the way this wind hits the mountains, that it creates this up and down motion from the wind, kind of like roller coaster tracks. And whenever the high downdraft, so whenever it goes, the wind goes up, whenever the high downdraft blows down, it'll blow down the small plane that isn't flying high enough to get out of that wavy wind.
Kind of like pushing your head underwater.
Yeah. So, I mean, if a lot of planes are able to fly there because they fly way high above it to where that wind disturbance isn't hitting them. But if they're flying too low, then the winds are just going like up and down, up and down, up and down. And whenever it goes down, it pushes these little tiny planes down into the ground. Either way, after learning about the Nevada Triangle, I know that I will not be flying my private plane there. Mainly because I don't have one. And I can't fly planes. So.
That's 2 very good reasons.
Yeah. I think that will do it for this geometric nightmare. If you have a boat, beware of Lake Michigan. If you have a plane, beware of Nevada. If you are in Bridgewater, Massachusetts, beware of ghosts and Bigfoots and kind of everything else that's unknown. And if you're in Vermont, stop lying because Vermont isn't real. It's not true. You're full of shit. All right. Well, I imagine I missed out on lots of stuff that maybe some of you that know more about those things wish I would have covered. Please comment and tell me what I missed and how, either how good or bad that I did. I'll take either. We'd love to hear from you. Or if you had a weird experience in any sort of polygon, I don't care what kind. It didn't even have to be one of these triangles. Let us know. Tell us in the comments. Tell us in reviews. Just, pay attention to me, please.
We're over here.
Come on. Well, join us next time, unless Jason gets lost in the Walmart aisle 27 triangle, where if he is around, he'll tell us about some things that'll make us say, Waywut. Watch out for
Later.
that aisle 27.
Oh yeah, I like that owl.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for joining us for Waywut. If you would, tell your friends or your enemies that they can watch us on YouTube or Rumble. And if you don't want to see our face, or if they don't want to see our faces, you can listen to us on your preferred audio platform. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, you name it, we're probably on there. Please like, review, and comment on whatever platform you joined us on today. We'd appreciate that a ton. Again, just thank you for listening and watching. We hope you'll join us next time. We'll make you say, wait, what?